you get it to overtime, you don't come away with the win.
Yeah, I mean that's disappointing. At the same time, I thought there were multiple situations that came up in the game, first half and second half, that I thought we executed well on. Going into overtime, I felt good about our chances. We just didn't pull it out.
Drake Maye ends up being responsible, arm and legs, for 301 of your 315 total yards on offense. I think he's your lead rusher for 3 out of 4 games. You feel like you got to find a way to get that run game going to help him,
absolutely.
help him out a little bit.
Yeah, my son last night, like, Dad, what's wrong with the run game? For me, it always starts up front, and we talk about the mentality and things like that. And us as coaches, we're in the solution business, and we just got to find out a way to get Ramondre and Gibby and Hasty, those guys, an opportunity. Because we can say whatever we want. Like, we couldn't get those guys started. The first half we were under 1 yard a carry, and the second half we still were under 1 yard a carry. And so we just had to do a better job.
When you sent Drake Maye the memo, did you bold that he needs to slide? Because I don't know if he got the message.
Look, this guy, he's a competitor. He's also a rookie, and he's trying to make plays. He's trying to do what he thinks is best to help the team win, and I appreciate that. And at the same time, we have to make sure that he's protecting himself.
Being a rookie, though, and being able to continue in the way in which he likes to play the game, him saying after the game, I'm not going to change the way in which I play, even though I went out into concussion protocol. Does that speak to him being young, or is that just a guy who's going to play the game of football the way in which he wants to be to play it and not be worried about any type of injury or anything that could come his way?
Yeah, he's a competitor. He's a competitor, and I think as he continues to progress, he'll second guess some of those hits that he's taken. But at this time, he just wants to help the team win, and I appreciate that.
Jerod, one of the things that I noticed yesterday is that you were very upset about another penalty. You're like middle of the pack. Through the first 4 weeks of the season, you guys are in like the top 5. Yeah. What's going on with, it seems like, consistently just sloppy, stupid penalties? And at one point, like I said, it was a point where you were upset. What do you think the issue is that you're still having these penalty issues?
Well, I don't necessarily agree with all the penalties that are called. I'm saying that for the NFL, I am not criticizing the referee.
Right,
you ain't Tom. Right. Yeah. But what I will say, like, I thought, we talk about the referee crew the night before every game. We knew that, this was a high penalty calling crew. The Titans had more penalties than we did. I would say, like even on the Polk holding call, I thought that was a little bit soft, but they called it. Even the Polk not being set, like, that's on the quarterback. And again, like, the quarterback has to make sure everyone's set. But those are the little things, the growing pains that we continue to go through. But we just have to be better.
Jerod, the final play of regulation, unbelievable extension of the play by Drake Maye, and then the extra point. What was the thought process in not going for 2, and how was that executed? Is it you're saying on the splitter, we're going for the extra point? Is there a conversation while the drive's unfolding? Should you score, we have a 2-point play ready to go. How did that all unfold?
We always stay ahead of the game. And that conversation happened long before the 12-second play. And again, I thought that was the best thing to do for our team. And honestly, either way, unless you execute the play, you'll be criticized. Like, we go for 2 and we don't get it a couple games ago, and this time we kicked the extra point, and I felt good. I felt like that was the right thing to do. So it's not like I'm stuck anyway. I think, there's a combination of things that go into that decision, and ultimately it's my decision, and that's what I decided to do.
Jerod, it's interesting you say that, because we as fans, we play, we're playing the Madden game. Go for 2, but you're playing the game in reality of, like, by kicking the extra point gives us the best chance of winning this football game. I know we talked about, like, statistically, and I feel like it's proven on paper that kicking the extra point gives you the better chance of going in overtime, if you can win the toss. Is that the mindset that you had? Like, gives us the best chance. We're not playing some fantasy football here.
Well, but you just said the ifs. I mean, you have to win the toss. I mean, the odds.
Right.
You know.
Well, we didn't win the toss.
Right. Do you get analytics on that, or are you making?
We always look at analytics, and I would say we also have discussions at a time of peace, and that time of peace being in a room with the coordinators going through multiple situations, and then you get into the game. You have to remember the things that you talked about, also taking into account the flow of the game and what's actually going on. So, you know, I think a lot of people think, you know, when you say analytics, that coaches are just sitting there with a book and it's like, whoa, this is 55%. You know, like, this is what we got. This is what we should do. No, like the weather, like analytics, it doesn't take the weather into account. It doesn't take the flow of the game into account. I think there's so many different variables that you have to kind of go through it. I will say this, as a staff, I thought, you know, we had a play ready to go. I thought we stayed ahead of the game. And, I mean, for me as a head coach, I can't ask for anything more from my staff.
Is there a belief, though, that as a former player, going for it there is saying, I believe in you, Drake, I believe in this offense, I'm going to lose, win or lose with these guys with one play from the 3-yard line?
I think Drake will tell you it's not about just Drake. It's about what's best for the team, and that's how I look at it.
Going back to just Drake, though, his turnovers, do you put that on him being so young, or is that something that he just needs to work on? It's a Drake problem, not a rookie problem.
No, I mean, look, he's trying to make plays out there, and, I mean, that comes with it. It's the same thing when we talked about, you know, guys breaking tackles and having issues holding onto the ball. Like, you love a guy that breaks tackles, but at the same time, you're more susceptible to, you know, those type of plays. And, look, I'm not going to try to change the way he plays. I look forward to seeing the way he continues to develop. And in saying that, I'm sure the turnovers and things like that will become less and less. And I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that you'll see, like, you know, moving forward with his ability, like he's proven that he can run, you say the running game's kind of stumbled a little bit, maybe adding him into that as far as more of a design runs for him to kind of maybe confuse the defense a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a great point. And, again, I would say it's easy to sit in here and say that, yet at the same time we have a guy freshly out of the protocol that we're just sitting here telling them to run out of bounds and slide, but then we'll put in quarterback design runs. I mean, it's a tough conversation.
On the protocol, so did he have a concussion, or is the protocol also for seeing if you did or if you didn't? If does that make sense? Like, do we know that he indeed had a concussion?
That made no sense to me. So you asked me, did it make sense? And it doesn't. I will say this.
Just so he didn't get a concussion.
Listen, this is what I would say. The NFL called down. He was put in a concussion protocol. He cleared the concussion protocol and played for us.
So we don't know if he had a concussion or not.
He was in the concussion protocol. That's a question for, I guess, the league.
Yeah.
So the team doesn't know if he has a concussion?
He was in the concussion protocol. I'm not going to keep going back and forth on this.
No, I'm just curious because it was quick. I didn't know that he was going to be in there. So if he didn't indeed have one, it would make more sense.
Yeah, they put a spotter, an NFL spotter called down. They said, all right, we believe he may have a concussion. They placed him in the concussion protocol. He cleared those hurdles and was able to play. Like, those guys are way smarter than me as far as concussions are concerned, so I don't know.
Wiggy's our concussion expert.
He's had a few.
I think, you know, it's all, they're all different, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say because
you had one?
I've probably, like you, have had multiple.
Right? Don't put me in that bucket. Don't put me in that.
I mean, I don't know. I guess the independent doctor, I guess it's so difficult because now, when we, or at least when I played, I can't, like I said, I can't really talk when you played, but when I played, there wasn't this independent doctor. It was like more of like, oh, I'm good.
Self-diagnosis.
And then, you know, where now it's completely taken out of your hand.
That's right.
And so even if he passes during the game, then it's up to the team to make the decision on whether or not we want to put him back in there. Is that how it works nowadays?
If he passes, if we think he gives us the best chance to win, and they clear him on the field, he's going right back in.
Okay. All right.
Jacoby Brissett keeps trying to put him back in there.
Does your week change at all this week with the trade deadline tomorrow? Like, does it? You guys talk about plans a lot. What is the plan going into tomorrow's trade deadline?
I think first, look, this isn't baseball. And in baseball, you know, you have big name players going to other teams. Like, I would say historically, even as a player and now as a coach, the trade deadline is a bunch of hype. It's a bunch of hype. Like, who's going to move a starting quarterback to another team right now? Who's going to move a starting left tackle? I mean, it rarely happens.
Jerod, you had that situation at halftime, and we were kind of talking about this. It was 2nd and 1. and we're always trying to figure out like the input and everything.
2nd and 1 and 3rd and 1, you got to be able to pick up a first
Right.
down.
Well, I guess the question I'm asking is at that 2nd and 1 point, do you jump on the headset and say, hey, let's maybe take a shot here, we want to get some points, or are you just like kind of letting Alex do what you think is best that he can do for the offense?
Whatever unit's out there on the field, I'm on that channel.
Okay.
And I let Alex know what I want to do, and we'll have, sometimes we have conversations, and again, we try to stay ahead of the game, and we talk through those things.
Okay.
But again, I would say ultimately, like, look, it's my choice.
Hellman's Mayo question of the week for Jerod Mayo. You can purchase Hellman's at your local Walmart or grocery store to add extra deliciousness and creamy flavor to your game day dishes this football season. This is from the Subaru of New England text line. Just I'll sum it up. Another great return on the punt yesterday, and how important is that from a motivation point of view for this football team?
It's huge. It's huge, and we challenged the special teams unit to go out there and make plays, and they did. Marcus is doing a heck of a job. I think he's leading the league in punt return average, and it's not just him; it's the guys that are out there blocking for him.
All right,
works for me.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. On to Chicago.
Now we got to wrap this up. We got to wrap up Tennessee, make some corrections, and then we'll be. It's about New England. It's about the Patriots today, and then tomorrow we'll move on.
How much did you look at Caleb Williams? Obviously, everybody kind of assumed he was going to go number 1, but
When you clapped your hands, I thought I was about to be over.
well, I was just you mentioned the Bears. I'm curious about your thoughts on Caleb
It's like what
Williams.
the police do.
Bonus
Curtis.
Look,
Yeah.
Caleb Williams, coming out. I think we all agreed he's one of those guys that can make all the throws, extend plays, and can make spectacular plays. And they'll be a challenge for us.
Devon Godchow called Drake May, Josh Allen 2.0. You agree with that assessment, kind of comp-wise?
I call him Drake May 1.0. I don't want to get into comparisons of, look, Josh Allen's a multi-year Pro Bowl quarterback, and we're here at the beginning stages of a developing quarterback that I think we're all excited about.
Yeah. All right. Great.
Perfect.
Thanks, Coach.